I think a lot of Staten Islanders have the same recollection that when they used to go to the Staten Island Mall, they would have to hold their nose and run from the car to the mall because the smell was so overwhelming. I remember at some point, probably when I was a little older, they tried to mask the smell of the landfill with like another smell. So it was like chocolate garbage. All these years later, it now looks like a forest, right? It looks like really great. You can't see it. But so there was all these efforts to like hide it from us, but you couldn't hide it. The perception was that like Staten Island in its entirety was a landfill. And growing up, that was really rough because wherever I would go, that's what people thought of Staten Island, that we were garbage.
The Staten Island Dump, formerly known as the Fresh Kills Landfill, was a 2,200-acre landfill that was located in Staten Island, New York. The Fresh Kills landfill was the only landfill that accepted New York City's residential waste. At one point, the landfill received 26,000 tons of waste per day, resulting in it becoming the largest landfill in the world. The landfill eventually closed in 2001, but the environmental impacts have lasted long after its closing. However, in recent years, the Fresh Kills Park Alliance has been working hard to convert the once infamous landfill into a recreational park.
And so we've been able to see that just because you have this blight on our map that you can see from space, you can actually create something really special out of it. With the closure of the landfill, it's given us a really historic and unprecedented opportunity to reclaim a urban landfill at this scale. In order to cap a landfill, you have to be able to ensure, obviously, safety of the community around you. And so at Fresh Kills, that took the form of putting an impermeable geotextile membrane over the garbage. And so there's a series of pipes that pull out the methane and pull out the leachate, and then essentially filter out that leachate before it goes back out into the water. And then we have the several other membrane layers, and then we have a whole bunch of dirt that's compacted on top of it. And then we have the grass that's seated on top of a mesh layer that keeps all that soil in place. So officially, the park is scheduled to open fully by 2036, which sounds like a long time, but it's really only about 12 years away. And so essentially what the park opening looks like is a phased opening. So we're opening each part of the park separately. And it's giving people recreational opportunities as well as passive opportunities for wildlife viewing. We have a 65-foot tall bird tower. We have other sections of the park that will be opening over the next, about 10 or so years. The next part is most likely going to be South Park, which is the anchor park of Fresh Kills. So it's like a community park. So that'll be opening hopefully within the next few years. So they're working on that now. East Park and West Park will probably be the last parts of the park that open. So it's a long plan, but it is now coming to fruition. So
these like land reclamation projects, like Brookfield, like Fresh Kills, they are probably the cleanest places you could be in the borough, because anywhere else you go, within the soil of parks and backyards of homes is just filled with industrial stuff from 100 years of the Industrial Revolution. So from that perspective, as a kid, having grown up with that, when it was closed, I was 26 years old, and now I have like two almost fully grown children, and the idea that they and like my grandkids and those great grandkids will be able to use that park as a park, and it will no longer be perceived as like an eyesore, that it's actually an asset, that it's a regional destination. It's just great that there's going to be generations of people who don't ever remember what that was like. And I think there's a lot of other people on Staten Island too that remember it, are glad that it's over, and are now sort of still crusading to make sure that other things don't go in that same direction as they did in the 1940s.
Currently, the Fresh Kills landfill has one section open, North Park. In the next few years, South Park will begin opening to the public, and in the years after that, East and West Park will be opened, and eventually the entire park will be available for all of the public to use. This is how the Fresh Kills Park Alliance, and the state of New York have transformed the Fresh Kills landfill from a dump into a recreational urban oasis.